Netflix might be leaving Nigeria because of corruption. I did a bit of research and this is what I found out. Hello there, my name is Janita Maaya. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe for more exciting stories like this on here, okay? Now, I do assume that most of you know Netflix. Let my editor cue that in the background right here or right here. I mean, it's a streaming platform that most of Africans utilize to watch movies from all over the continent, Bollywood movies, US movies, UK movies, like series from all over the world. It's like a place you can go to and just find everything that you need according to your preferences. Now, when I heard the story that Netflix may be exiting Nigeria, I was honestly saddened because if you don't know Nigeria is like the giant of Africa. So if a streaming platform like Netflix could be looking at a possibility of exiting that market, I had to find out why, because you can't just exit the giant of Africa. There must be reasons as to why you're exiting. And this issue is quite serious to most people because Nollywood, guys, who doesn't know about Nollywood? I'm sure you've watched Nollywood everywhere. I mean, I've watched The Blood Sisters on Netflix. I've watched Oluture on Netflix. I have watched I think there's some other one that has it's in the, is it Yoruba? It's in the local language that I've actually watched. I will say I've watched most of the Nigerian films and series on Netflix because I don't know, it's just they just do it to another level and I'm always impressed when I watch them. I wanted us to unpack what this headline means for creatives, for investors, and for Africa at large. Like, let's look at it and see, let's hold a mirror to ourselves. Let's see what's the actual reason that a streaming platform like Netflix would decide to leave the giant of Africa. Please watch this clip.
Of the matter is, there was a lot of money in the movie industry. There was a lot of money. When the streaming platforms came in, they gave money to these producers. And I'll tell you, point blank, these producers will take the money, $1.5 million or whatever they give them. They use about 10% of that money to make the movie. They are listening. They cannot deny it. I cannot call names, but you know yourself.
They use not generalizing hastily.
Not general. I know. I'm not saying all of them. Most of them.
Most of them.
Most of them.
You will say like 70% of them.
Yeah, maybe more.
Really?
Yeah. That's really? Most of them. Yeah. Even to the point where the streaming platform stepped in and said, "You know what? We're going to be paying the actors directly. These guys will still go behind them and tell the actors to pay half of that money back to them." You can verify this information anywhere. So you see, you've heard. So when you do that and you expect your movie to be 100%, you can't. It's impossible. Once you're giving $1.5 million to make a movie, at least use everything. That's when you get quality. But these guys, they will buy houses, buy cars, and it will show. And that's why when you see our movies, some of our epic movies look like stage plays. You know what I'm saying. This horse, they are lean, horse they cough.
You've heard it right there from Basket Mouth. I think growing up, I used to watch Basket Mouth on MultiChoice or DSTV, as most of you will call it. I don't remember. I think it was Flatmates or Roommates, but I think it was Flatmates. That's why I watched Basket Mouth from. He is a Nigerian comedian, and this was his take on why Netflix might be exiting the market. Now, mind you, Netflix has actually come out and said no, they're not leaving the market, and it's just a rumor. So everything that I say here is allegedly. I repeat that. Everything that I say here is allegedly. Do not quote me on that. I'm also going best off what I've had in the streets of social media. So him saying that, I want to give you guys a story. Let me give you guys a story. So there's a certain project that I took on that I onboarded, and I was in charge of getting certain things, right? So I ended up working with an agent, and I said, you'll help me get the ABCD The agent said yes. And for the agent helping me get ABCD, we were paying the agent a certain amount of money, and that was it. And then would pay ABCD their money, and that was it. But come to find out a few years down the road that that the agent that had procured was actually taking the cut that we were giving him, and then he was also taking a cut from ABCD. Right? So I ended up cutting ties with that individual because, first of all, he was spoiling the reputation of the project we were working for, and we didn't want that to be what we're known for. We wanted people to get their money clean and square. We wanted them to receive their money how they wanted, and that's just about it. Now, moving on. Like Basketmouth has mentioned, he says that most times the streaming platform Netflix would come on board and say, hey, let's give you this amount of money so that we can produce Netflix originals. Because I don't know if you pay attention, most times when you see a series or a film on Netflix, you'll see this, they'll tell you that this is a Netflix original. So that means they funded the whole production and everything. And then the other times it's not a Netflix original, it's maybe by another production house or another studio, and then they sold their film or series to Netflix. Yeah, but someone in the comment section can let us know how it works, right? So they would come on board and say, we're giving this amount of money to you. And he's kind of insinuating that once Netflix would share that money to the producer wouldn't use the entire amount to create the film. They would most times use the 10% to create the film. Now, if you're in business, you'll understand if you give someone an amount to do something for you and they use 10% of that amount to do said thing, then obviously the quality is not going to be the best, right? Well, obviously the quality is not going to be the best, right? Now, moving on, Netflix said, okay, you know what? We're not giving the money straight to the producers. Let's give the money straight to the actors. But even when they give the money to the actors, the producers will still find a way to say, hey, I brought you on, I gave you this deal, so give me a cut of that money. Just like I gave you the story of what I encountered in my line of when I was doing some work somewhere, right? So something like that at the root of it has corruption. Now, most times people think corruption is something political, it's our leaders, it's the government, but other times corruption can also be within ourselves, the citizens. Other times corruption can be with the people we live with. There's a thing in Uganda called enjaulo. It's like, what's my cut, right? Most times people are looking for their njaulo. They're looking for their cut, their cut for something they contributed to. They're not seeing the long term. They're not seeing that, hey, it's like when you have a cash cow, you wouldn't kill the cash cow. You need the cow to continue giving you the cash or the milk. So keep the cow alive, right? It doesn't make sense for you to go ahead and kill the cash cow that has been bringing in all the money. And most times people don't see that because in their heads, they're just like, you know what? Give me the money. I need my cut, and that in itself is corruption. Also, Netflix living in Nigeria sends a broad message to investors out there. I don't know if you've noticed, because Nigeria is like the largest entertainment industry in Africa. Well, Nigeria and South Africa. I think they're going head to head. I don't know which one is the best, but I'm going to go with Nigeria because Hollywood is one of the biggest things. I've been watching Hollywood movies from when I was a kid. I've been watching Patience Ozok. I've been watching Aki and Popo. It's what we're raised on. It was like our thing. Like when you Nigerians, you can't beat them in that field. So Netflix looking at one of the largest entertainment markets in Africa and saying, hey, we want to do business there, but them exiting that market kind of sends a message that, you know what, it's quite impossible to do business in Africa, because if you can't make it in the largest market in Africa, what is it looking like for the other African countries? Now, granted, that's just my opinion, by the way. Don't go in the comment section feeling lovey-dovey. That's just my opinion, and that's what I think, right? When we see companies like Netflix taking their business elsewhere, when they take their money and opportunities elsewhere, it's not just Netflix leaving. It's about how corruption is just affecting all of us in the end. It's about how corruption is affecting the entire sector. Corruption is affecting the creatives, the audiences. Now imagine, I got so spoiled. I was used to watching a Nigerian film or a Nigerian movie every once in a while. Like I knew for sure Netflix was going to drop two Nigerian films or series or 5, you know, I knew they were going to be there. But now them leaving that market, how will a normal person like me who greatly admires Nollywood watch Nollywood, right? Unless we now go to the illegal route, which is not for most people. But I want you guys to watch this clip about corruption in Africa, about how corruption in the end destroys our cash cows. For lack of a better word, corruption in the end will end up hurting a majority of us, right? Corruption affects everyone. It rolls down, it cripples down. It's not just people at the top that, okay, they benefit, right? But then the Muntu one see that's like a normal everyday person, they're also affected in that manner.
You go to Nigeria, which is, if not the most corrupt nation in Africa, and it is, it could be the most corrupt nation in the world, Minister Farrakhan.
Oh, now, Mr. Wallace.
It is the most corrupt nation that I have ever covered. I've been there 25 years ago, and I've been there as recently as last year.
Fine. So what? 35 years old. That's what that nation is. Now, here's America, 226 years old. You love democracy? But there in Africa, you're trying to force these people into a system of government that you just have accepted. 30 years ago, black folk got the right to vote. You're not in any moral position to tell anybody how corrupt they are. You should be quiet and let those of us who know our people go there and help them get out of that condition. But America should keep her mouth shut.
That being said, I guess you guys have watched those clips. Obviously, the clip of the white man, I don't know if I'll insert it, actually. I'll decide this post-production. But obviously, the white man is in no position to, to kind of speak on us, That's why people like me are here, so that we can speak about our own people, But I think to him, he felt like it was the most corrupt, and to some people, they felt like it was the most corrupt. I have friends who have toured Uganda, and they said, they felt a bit of corruption here and there. That is like through the traffic officers and, a few things here and there that most people are not used to. My main point being corruption will destroy us all if we don't check ourselves and look within. This will be the end of us as a people. Now, let's talk about the impact on creatives. Now, I happen to be in the creative space. I happen to be in the creative industry. I do socialize so much with a lot of creatives, that is in the film industry, music industry, and I'll say content creation industry, for lack of a better word, for that type of industry. And when we see things like this, because when you see things like this, you think of the group, the camera group guy. Like, Netflix was providing job opportunities for these people. This could have been kids who were maybe on the streets with nothing to do, but Netflix comes in, decides to fund a project, and everyone gets to eat. But because the greedy people at the top, they end up stopping that person from eating, leave alone providing the job opportunities. I feel like the greatest, validation on earth is for someone to see the work that you've done. It's an amazing feeling. Imagine someone saw you walking down the road, like, oh my God, I saw the work that you did. I saw the film that you created. I saw the what you did on this set. Like, that's amazing. But imagine that's taking everything. But imagine this was an opportunity for most creatives to showcase their talent on an international, on a global scale, right? In the future, I believe that they could have used that to even attain more funding and, be able to have some sort of stability in their careers because of all this amazing work that they've done, right? And I think for the longest time, Nollywood kind of struggled with distribution of their movies and series, and Netflix provided a solution to that. It provided a streaming platform for something most Nollywood filmmakers were looking for. So I hope we look at that as a positive, and we hope and pray that it doesn't leave the market, right? So let's say that Netflix decide to leave the market. We're going to see people will lose their jobs. First of all, the exposure will dry up. The funding will dry up, there'll be less jobs, there'll be less recognition for our talent. The struggle will keep on continuing, and then also the struggle to compete on a global scale will be kind of difficult because, I'm sorry to say, once you're this skin color, you have to work times 2. You have to prove yourself that you deserve to be in the position that you're in, right? Now imagine something like this is going away. So the struggle for recognition is going to be a bit more difficult. But I want you guys to watch this clip.
Netflix has quietly left Nigeria, and whilst I can't confirm at this moment the authenticity of this, it got me curious and I started doing some digging, and what I found out shocked me. But if this is true, the big question now is, what does their living mean for Nollywood? During my research, I found this.
Nigerian subscribers to Netflix in Nigeria alone, they're not more than 100 and something thousand. I'll shock you. Yeah, you think it's millions. No. 160 something thousand or thereabouts. 169,000 subscribers.
I thought this couldn't be true, because how do you reconcile having over 100 million plus bankable adults but only 169,600 people are subscribed to Netflix? It now made sense that Netflix would invest over $125 million in the South African film industry with over 1 million plus subscribers and a meager $23.6 million in Nollywood. But don't be shocked by the number of subscribers in Nigeria. For the average Nigerian, the thinking is, how can we be spending over 7,000 naira on Netflix Premium or 3,200 and still use our data to watch these movies? The model doesn't just make sense to us. But this is also because we don't have very good internet infrastructures, and to be honest, Sapa won't wound us. And so we opt for platforms like YouTube that is relatively free, or the Netflix password sharing, or downloading these movies for free from illegal websites. Netflix leaving could mean that they won't be investing in the industry in terms of commission titles. These are movies or TV series that Netflix funds their production from the start, or co-produces with studios like Blood Sisters with Ebony Life Studios, Jagun Jagun, Far From Home, The Black Book, or in simple terms, what we know as Netflix originals. Instead, Netflix could then be acquiring the rights to stream movies already produced by studios. They won't own these titles, and those titles could leave their websites when their license have been expired. But I don't think this affects already commissioned titles like Kemi Adetiba's To Kill a Monkey, Blood Sisters Season 2, which is already in the works, and the rest of them. It just simply means that Netflix won't be investing in the industry going forward. Now we can either be sad about this or see it as a wake-up call to do better. We shall need to fix Nigeria. But let me leave you with a shocker. Do you know that after 11.2 million views gathered by The Black Book, South Koreans actually watched that movie more than us? Don't worry, Sha, your Netflix account is still safe. But tell me, do you think it's wrong for Netflix to leave?
I like the video from that gentleman. He calls himself EK. It's on YouTube. Please, if you can subscribe to him, do subscribe, because I saw that this clip had a few views, but I feel like he's such a great content creator. So shout out to him. I feel like he broke it down very well. He broke down why Netflix may be exiting and so on and so forth, the impact it will have on creatives and investors, the numbers, how Netflix invested more in South Africa than Nigeria because of various reasons. I believe you've watched the clip. I believe we're now all educated and up to date with the information. But what are we going to do about it? I want us to be solution oriented. I want us to look forward. Like, let's see, what is it that we can do as individuals? I can come here and yappa. That's what they call them, right? But what's the solution? So let's say Netflix leaves, God forbid. But let's say Netflix leaves, then what? What do we do? I saw a few comments of saying, oh yeah, if they leave, then it's time for Africans to come up and build their own thing. Definitely, 100%. If Africans can come up and build their own thing, 100%. But in hindsight, what Netflix was able to do was put people on an international scale so they could get recognition to kind of back up whatever it is that they were going to do, right? First, we need accountability. We need transparent policies. We need for both parties involved in the filmmaking process to be transparent. If the money is coming from the top and this is how it's going to be distributed, then I think like you communicating to your people, this is how this will be done, is a better option than you just saying, hey, give me a percentage of what you're earning, and you know what, like just transparency and being more accountable for our own situations. Number 2 is we need to be organized. I saw a comment that kind of intrigued me. He said we lack organization in Africa, and I said, what do you mean we lack organization? Because from the outside looking in, Nollywood is organized, right? But I think they had a reason why they said that, right? But I think organization can come through collaborations and alternative platforms that Nollywood can now utilize to get its content out there in the world. So I don't feel like now is the time for us to mourn the loss of Netflix. Should they go? Should they not go? Like in life, change is the fact of life. My father's always saying, if there's one thing you can't change in life, it's change. It's the one constant. It's change is change. Change is coming. You just have to make sure you prepare yourself for the change that's coming, whether it's good or bad. You make sure that you protect you. So we need to make sure we protect we as Africans. And stop the corruption that's going on. We need to protect we as Africans and stop the unaccountability that's going on. Stop this whole crab in a barrel mentality, pulling the other person down. Because we'll never grow. Let's not kill the cash cow. Keep the cash cow alive. Let's watch this clip.
You're well known as a strong anti-corruption fighter, but that's had consequences. People have fought back, and your mother was kidnapped. How have you been handling this?
It's been very difficult. Thank you for mentioning the issue of the kidnap of my mother. It's a very difficult subject. But what it means is that when you fight corruption, when you touch the pockets of people who are stealing money, they don't just keep quiet. They fight back. And the issue for you is when they try to intimidate you, do you give up or do you fight on? Do you find a way to stay on and fight back? And the answer I had with the teams I worked with is we have to fight on. We have to create those institutions. We have to find ways to stop these people from taking away the heritage of the future. And so that's what we did. And even out of government, we continue to make that point. In our countries, nobody is going to fight corruption for us but us. And therefore, that comes with consequences. And we just have to do the best we can. But I thank you and thank Ted for giving us a voice to say to those people, you will not win, and we will not be intimidated. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your great work and your important work. Thank you.
I like what she said. No one is going to fight corruption for us except us. It is you and I that are fighting corruption, my friend. Be a snitch if you can. I know what I'm saying is not what you want to hear, but you know what? Stop corruption when you see it. Don't be that person who adds the corruption. And mind you, I also used to be those people. Like, I don't like conflict. So if I have an altercation, like a kosana, what is it in English? If I have like a fight, if I have like an argument with someone in power, I don't have the energy to go back and forth with them. So most times I'll use my pocket to kind of like hush them up or like get the process moving. But I thank God that I realized I tend to do that. So nowadays I stop myself when I'm about to do something like that. So I hope that if you're watching this, you also take a moment to like reflect, recognize and rebuild. It's not just Netflix that that Nigeria might be losing on. I feel like all African countries need to look at what's happening and how we can better ourselves. We risk losing a lot of opportunities, a lot of investors, a lot of things if we do not address the root of the problem. The root of the problem is corruption. If it's not uprooted, we're just going to keep bearing rotten fruit. That's it. I've said it. I'm sorry. And yeah, guys, I've come to the end of this episode. If you've watched till the end, you know the drill. Drop a 1 and your email. You have to drop a 1 and your email so that I can send you an ebook. Like, that's how it works. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Please purchase my merch. Uganda looks good on me. Uganda is calling, so I must go. It's exciting. Like, yeah, my match is amazing, by the way. And yeah, subscribe, guys. I'm trying to get to like, okay, I'm now at 3K, so thank you so much, I appreciate it. I'm trying to get to like, I guess 5K. Is that a small goal? Let's not. We're trying to get to 10K. We're on the road to 10K subscribers. So yeah, that's why we're starting. Do not, what's the word? Do not kunyoma. Like in Uganda it's kunyoma, but like do not underestimate your humble beginnings, or do not underlook your humble beginnings. So please do subscribe. Okay, that's a lot of talking. Follow me on all my social media pages at Janita Maaya, and I'll see you next time. Bye.